Terrence, when did you know that you were going to beat him over here on your left?
When he signed the contract.
Why the hell was old Canelo Alvarez take the rematch? All right, why would he start negotiating? And there's a few things going on here. Number one, there was a rematch clause.
Listen, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got to fight, and I'm going to win the fight. As simple as that.
I try it, but my body just no let me go.
He is a desperate man trying to salvage his legacy. After the humiliating display we witnessed in September 2025, most fans thought the story was over. We thought the torch had been passed and Canelo would ride off into the sunset. We were wrong.
And before 2025 comes to an end, Saul Canelo Alvarez paid a visit to TV Azteca, his home network, and spoke about the plans coming up for next year, where he will venture into different sports projects. Furthermore, he reiterated that his priority inside the ring is the rematch against Terrence Crawford, which is already being negotiated and which he wants at all costs.
Breaking news has just surfaced that Canelo Alvarez has officially activated the rematch clause. He is calling out Terrence Crawford for a second war, targeting May 2026. This isn't just a standard fight announcement. This is a frantic attempt to regain his place as the #1 fighter.
As TV Azteca, Mexican boxing channel, is reporting that 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, first ballot Hall of Famer, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout, has indeed now, after suffering another loss, after having surgery on his elbow, he is now of the mindset that he can overcome the mountain that it was in September in the form of 5-division world champion, 3-division undisputed world champion, pound for pound king, #1 fighter in the world, first ballot Hall of Famer, superstar boxer, Terrence "Bud" Crawford.
But is he chasing redemption, or is he signing up for a second career-ending beating? Let's dive into the chaos. The silence from the Alvarez camp following the September loss was deafening, but it finally broke on Mexican television. Canelo made a surprise appearance on TV Azteca's Los Protagonistas, and the demeanor he showed was far from the cool, calculated businessman we are used to seeing. Reports from the network confirmed that Canelo stated his absolute top priority is a rematch with Terrence Crawford. He wasn't vague about it. He explicitly said negotiations are already underway for 2026 and that he wants this fight at all costs.
I'm not bull-jiving. Listen, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence "Bud" Crawford in negotiations to happen 2026, the rematch. And let me tell you something.
This phrase, "at all costs," is telling. Usually, Canelo negotiates from a position of strength, demanding catch weights or rehydration clauses. But now, insiders suggest he is willing to bend the knee just to get Crawford back in the ring. The clip, which has been circulating rapidly on X, formerly Twitter, shows a man who looks determined.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have, you just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight?
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody, like I said, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now? Somebody tell me, what can you say now?
You can say congratulations.
That's it. What can you say? Any words?
Thanks.
I bet you did.
He isn't looking for a tune-up fight or an easy payday against a mandatory challenger. He is obsessed with the one man who made him look ordinary.
I believe they have a rematch clause. I'm not sure exactly. I'm sure there's some kind of wording because Canelo doesn't enter a fight without some kind of wording in terms of a rematch clause. But he's just not going to beat Terrence Crawford. It's the style's all wrong for him. The movement's all wrong for him. And that's what I said. Going into the fight, I really believe Crawford would win in the style that he did.
But why the obsession? To understand that, we have to revisit the night the myth died. September 13th, 2025. It was supposed to be another Mexican Independence Day celebration for Canelo Alvarez. The narrative going into the fight was simple. Terrence Crawford was too small. Critics said Bud was biting off more than he could chew by moving up 3 weight classes to challenge the super middleweight king.
I mean, excuse my language, the size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
As far as they say, who's pound for pound, right? This fight will say that, but who has Crawford really beat? Postal? Gamboa? Gamboa wasn't the same after he fought him, but I feel Burns. Look at Canelo's resume. Cotto, Triple G, the list goes on and on. Austin Trout. A lot of world champions, bro. So I feel that's how you measure how great a fighter is through that. So we'll see. But I just feel his resume is he's gonna come in this fight, be able to figure out Crawford. So we'll see.
But when the bell rang, size didn't matter. Skill did. Crawford didn't just win, he dismantled a legend. The scorecard read 11 rounds to 1 in favor of the man from Omaha. It wasn't a flash knockout or a lucky punch. It was a prolonged 12-round lesson in boxing science.
I want to ask you a little bit about the history that you made tonight, and I want your opinion on which means the most to you. You became a 5-division world champion. You became the 3rd of 4-division lineal champion with Mayweather and Pacquiao. You became a 3-time undisputed champion, the first ever in the 2, 3, or 4 belt era. And you became the 2nd undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only 1 champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
Which do you think means
all
the most?
And all of it. It all goes hand in hand.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore, so...
Crawford dominated the center of the ring, making Canelo miss, making him pay, and essentially wrestling the bigger man into submission. The irony is thick here. For years, Canelo dismissed Crawford, saying he hadn't fought anybody and was too small. Yet on the biggest stage, the smaller man bullied the bully.
Don't get me wrong, okay? He's a good fighter, a great fighter. I always say before I see him calling me out and want the fight and everything, I say before he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
Get your reaction to Terrence, what he did. That's another crazy thing, right?
No, that's not crazy. No, I say it's not crazy because I predicted. I said Canelo was going to get old in the ring that night. No disrespect to Crawford. He did a good. Crawford could have stopped him. He could have. Me being a coach and watching how the fight was going on, he could have stopped him. And I know he's saying it in his mind, but he was being humble of Canelo. He was being humble, and it was a great fight, and it was good talk for the boxing world. And that's what it's all about, to entertain, to get us something to look at. We've been entertained like this for years, for centuries, of gladiators and stuff, going in the ring, representing their fans.
Here is where things get messy. Before the first fight, back in June 2025, Terrence Crawford saw this coming. In a now viral interview, Crawford looked directly into the camera and sent a warning to Canelo. "I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses." Crawford explicitly stated he didn't want to hear about weight draining or injuries after he won.
Can I ask you about if there's any rematch clause with this fight with Canelo?
No, it's not.
Is that something you push for?
No, I didn't.
And there's any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
A lot of fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, reasons why, he didn't feel good or anything. I want him at his best.
Terrence, when did you know that you were going to beat him? Over here on your left.
when he signed the contract.
He seemed to focus mostly on body punches, and you were hitting him in the head a lot. Was it your reach that gave you the advantage?
It was everything. You know, he wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it. But, you know, I think I was the better man tonight.
He wanted the victory to be absolute, but now the excuses are starting to leak out. Rumors are swirling from Canelo's camp that he entered the September fight with a compromised elbow, an injury that required surgery immediately after the bout. This is the exact narrative Crawford warned against.
Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez also, last time you saw him, he's, nursing and recovering from an elbow surgery, which he had an elbow injury going into the fight. So, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm talking about if you Canelo, why would you say, let's go ahead with the rematch. I think I got a shot. All right. Being a competitor for one. All right. And number two, the fight was closer technically than you thought because you were in there. And in there, you felt like you were getting your ass whipped. And number three, you went in there nursing an elbow injury. So it's like, I think I may have a chance if I'm 100% healthy. All right. He feels the same way about Bivol because he had a wrist injury going into the Bivol fight. So it's just, you think about all those things and like, let me give myself a shot.
By hinting that he wasn't at 100%, Canelo is trying to convince himself and the public that a healthy version of himself flips the script. But the fans aren't buying it. The consensus online is that this looks weak. It looks like he fell right into Crawford's psychological trap. By blaming an injury, Canelo is stripping credit from Crawford's performance, which only adds fuel to the fire for the rematch.
Why the hell would Saul Canelo Alvarez take the rematch? All right, why would he start negotiating? And there's a few things going on here. Number one, there was a rematch clause. And I do know right after the fight, Saul Canelo Alvarez was like, there was nothing I could do with him. But I think what happens is you start to sit back. Let me look at the fights. Let me think about this. The fight was closer than I thought. That's what Canelo's thinking, right? Because technically it was. All right, when you think about the copy box, put a pin in that. We all know Terrence Crawford whooped that man's ass 11 rounds to 1 in reality, all right? But if you count, punches, landed or copy by, statistically, technically, it was a closer fight, okay?
We have seen Canelo lose before. He lost to Floyd Mayweather in 2013, and he lost to Dimitri Bivol in 2022. But this feels different. Against Mayweather, he was young and inexperienced. Against Bivol, he was fighting a naturally larger light heavyweight. This time, he has no excuse. He was in his prime weight class against a guy who started his career at lightweight.
The Mexican ancestors of the past who normally resurrect from their graves and their spirits is in the building to give that great Mexican warrior the energy and the power that he needs to overcome the battle. Well, that didn't work this time. The slim, skinny, dark-skinned dude from Omaha, Nebraska beat you in front of all of those people. So Canelo got to get it back in blood. I respect that, Nello. Go back and do your thing, run it back, and see what you can do differently. You dig? Y'all let me know, what do you think about this Canelo rumored to want to rematch Terrence Crawford in his next fight? Peace.
And then just as it got a bit closer at the weigh-in, I was like, my heart was like, nah, Canelo's got this, and but deep down, I kind of knew that it was all wrong for him. And to be honest with you, Canelo knew it was all wrong for him. I had the conversation with Canelo Alvarez probably, a year ago, about Terrence Crawford. And he was like, nah, why would I fight Terrence Crawford? He hates that style. And when he fought Charlo, I remember him being really disappointed that Charlo just moved and moved and moved. And that's why he ended up fighting Munguia and Berlanga, because they're guys that wouldn't do that and they'd stand in front of him, and that suits him down to the ground. Anyone that's got movement like Skull, like Crawford, he really struggles against. And when he was a bit younger and fresher, he could probably get away with it and cut it off. And but then you see guys like Bivol and Crawford and these guys beat him because of that movement. And I don't know what he does again. I mean, you know, the biggest money fight out there for him is the rematch with Crawford.
Sources close to the camp suggest Canelo's ego simply cannot process the loss. It's eating him alive. He feels the need to get it back in blood, a sentiment echoed by various fight commentators. He cannot retire knowing that a skinny guy from Omaha took his crown. It's reminiscent of the great legends who didn't know when to quit. This rematch decision seems driven entirely by pride, not logic.
Hey, yo, peace to the family. Look, I don't saw the report. Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is saying, from what they're saying out there on the internet, that he wants to rematch Terrence Crawford. I think that's a wonderful thing. It makes sense from a financial standpoint. If you Canelo, your ego is involved as well, because you said all of these things. You said the guy's too small. You said he ain't fought nobody. You said he's, you know, your resume is better than his. You said that there's levels to this. And that small, skinny guy from Omaha, Nebraska beat you on Mexican Independence Day in front of all of the ancestors.
The business side of this rematch is going to be a nightmare for Canelo's team. In every fight for the last decade, Canelo was the A side. He dictated the ring walks, the glove brands, the venue, and the money split. That power is gone. Terrence Crawford now holds all the leverage. Financial experts are already predicting that Crawford will demand a 50-50 split, or perhaps even more, to step back in the ring. And why shouldn't he? He dominated the first fight. He is the one doing Canelo a favor by even granting this rematch. Remember, Floyd Mayweather never gave Canelo a rematch. Dimitri Bivol never gave him a rematch. Crawford is the only one with the dog mentality to run it back, but he's going to make Canelo pay heavily for the privilege.
In negotiating for this rematch, he would be the first one out of the fighters who've beaten Saul Canelo Alvarez to give him a rematch. Floyd Money Mayweather didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. Dimitri Bivol didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. But here Terrence Bud Crawford doing what he does. And let me give you a side note. Let me just put a pin in that. Put a pin in that real quick. Do you know what Terrence Bud Crawford was trying to do? The type of bags he was trying to collect this year? Terrence Bud Crawford accepted the Jake Paul fight. Yeah, the replacement fight for Gervonta Tank Davis. Terrence Bud Crawford accepted that damn fight. Now, MVP, Jake Paul, they didn't go with Terrence Bud Crawford. They went with AJ, which I'm still scratching my head on that. All right, because that is going to be a brutal knockout. But with that said, Terrence Bud Crawford said yes to this, knowing damn well he's going to negotiate with Canelo. You want to talk about the bags?
The tables have turned completely. Canelo is now the one chasing the fight, and Crawford is the one counting the cash.
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, you know? But for me, I knew I could do it, and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
No, well, you got two champions and two different styles. And obviously, Crawford was a little quicker. But Canelo didn't have any quit, and he kept coming forward. He kept fighting. So it was a great fight. I would actually like to see it again. Thank you.
So, if the fight happens in May 2026, how does Canelo actually win? He can't outbox Crawford. We saw that already. Renowned trainer Robert Garcia has weighed in with a controversial take. Garcia believes Canelo can win, but only if he stops trying to box.
He needs to make a change, I think. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, you know, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
Garcia's analysis is brutal. He argues that Canelo was too respectful of Crawford's skills in the first fight. To win the rematch, Canelo has to stop caring about getting hit. He needs to turn it into a street fight, relying on his legendary chin to walk through Crawford's fire just to land one heavy shot. Garcia is calling for Canelo to be reckless, to abandon defense, and to use his physical weight to bully Crawford. It's a strategy that could lead to a knockout victory, or it could result in Canelo taking a devastating amount of punishment. The reaction from the boxing world is split down the middle. A quick scroll through the Reddit threads and X timeline shows the divide. Half the fans respect the warrior spirit. They love that Canelo isn't running away, that he wants to avenge his loss like the old school legends. They see this as the ultimate act of bravery. The other half sees it as a delusion. They argue that Crawford has Canelo's number and that a rematch will only look worse.
I got a lot of Mexican supporters, you know, they love boxing. I got a lot of people that I grew up with as, you know, Latino, you know, so, you know, this is for the whole Mexican people that love me and support me.
There is also a cynical theory floating around that this is just a cash grab. Some believe Canelo knows his time is up and he wants one final massive payday, likely over $50 million, before he hangs up the gloves for good.
Canelo Alvarez is not going to move up to fight David Benavidez now at 175. There's nowhere to go. Like, Crawford could still try to conquer 160, but who is putting up real money for that? Canelo has already cleaned out the 168-pound division. Besides Terence Crawford, where else is he going to go? I just think the more time passes, the more we get away from the outcome of this fight, that's when people are going to start to realize that doing it one more time is in the best interest of both these guys. And for boxing, by the way, because that's another big event that you could put on the calendar.
You're pretty stupid for a smart guy, especially when it comes to matchmaking.
Whether it's bravery, delusion, or greed, the world will be watching. May 2026 is shaping up to be the most consequential month in modern boxing history. Canelo Alvarez is betting his entire legacy on a single night. If he wins, it's the greatest comeback of all time. If he loses again, specifically in the dominant fashion of the first fight, his aura of invincibility is gone forever. What do you think? Is Canelo letting his ego write a check his body can't cash, or will the king reclaim his throne? So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.